Let's talk about the Cardinals injury report along with the 49ers. We've got the positivity playbook and some stats as we head into the upcoming game.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh. The sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Singh. And today we don't have too much to talk about because last week's game was awful. It was awful. Most of our beat reporters have labeled it as embarrassing, humiliating, frustrating. Fans were airing their grievances and their frustrations. For me, I think most of it would be aimed at the coaching staff. It's not like Kyler Murray to not make plays. So it seems as if the plays just weren't designed properly. But who am I to say? I am not a coach. I'm not a coach, but neither are you. I think we need to remember that Kyler is an elite quarterback. He's doing his job. He only had 3 rushing yards, which is incredibly frustrating. Believe me, incredibly frustrating. But he's still Kyler Murray. He's still the best. And I expect to see that in the game against the 49ers this weekend. But yeah, we can talk injury report. We've got some stories in the positivity playbook, and we'll call it a day. Just a little bite-sized version, getting you ready for this week's upcoming game.
This show, The Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh, is sponsored by Homage. Sweet details, your favorite teams. Click the link in the description and get your very own shirt from your favorite team or pop culture using the link in the description. Thank you, Homage.
Let's talk about the Cardinals injury report. Trey McBride is trending upward. He was not wearing a yellow jersey, which means he was eligible for contact. This means it's looking good for Sunday's game against the 49ers. Now, Trey McBride has excellent history against the 49ers. He actually tied his career high, which Charlotte and I talk about in the positivity playbook. Even though he's missed a game, he is still one of the top tight ends in the league. He was averaging 7 targets. He's expected to get 7 targets again this week, according to DraftKings. So keep your eye on Trey McBride, as he will likely, more than likely, probably will, yes, be in the game on Sunday. We also had news, though, about kicker Matt Prater. He was not practicing. He's listed with a left knee injury, and the Cardinals have signed former Patriots kicker Chad Ryland to the practice squad. So we need to keep an eye on whether or not Matt Prater is going to be ready for Sunday. Right tackle Kelvin Beachum, he has been out, but he's been warming up with the team. He was listed as a non-participant on Wednesday. I don't have the latest other than Wednesday. Does anybody know why it's been a little bit slow to get injury report updates, by the way? If you do know, drop me a line, because I'm used to checking the Cardinals injury report and it seems to be behind. Anyway, Kelvin Beachum was warming up, and cornerback Garrett Williams had a groin injury. Offensive lineman Isaiah Adams had a thumb. They were sidelined on Wednesday, so hopefully by the time this airs, they're doing better. 49ers have a lengthy injury report. Biggest name on the list, linebacker Fred Warner and tight end George Kittle. Warner was sidelined with an ankle injury. Kittle nursing a rib issue, according to azcardinals.com's injury report. Those are some pretty big names, but the rest of their injury report is pretty lengthy. So, is that good news for us? Who knows? What we do know is they've made replacements for Christian McCaffrey, and we definitely need to keep an eye out for Jordan Mason, who took his place. Jordan Mason is having a heck of a season so far. So the Cardinals really need to buckle up and make sure that we are protecting that line so that running back Jordan Mason isn't breaking through. Um, what else do we have? I mean, if George Kittle doesn't play, that's huge for us. And Fred Warner, that is huge. If he does not play, he's had his 10th career interception and his second career interception and touchdown last week. So he's leading all linebackers right now. And he's one of five linebackers with 10 or more interceptions. He has 109 tackles in 12 games against Arizona. So we definitely wouldn't hate it if Fred Warner was not in the game on Sunday, but I'm not about to put out bad energy. If he needs more time to heal, that's fine. Now that we've gotten the injury report out of the way, let's talk about positive things. I'm going to bring in my co-host, Charlotte Shaff. Charlotte, welcome to the show. Another edition of the Positivity Playbook. However, we've got some positive stories. It's just not that positive of a week. We're going to touch on that anyway, but let's go ahead and start with the best story probably of the day. Good Neighbor Day. What is that about?
Yes. So the Boys and Girls Club in Arizona had a very exciting week where they were doing different things to help promote their organization. And they did something at State Farm and they had a Good Neighbor Day. So they had a lot of fun things happening with kids. They have a campaign called the Believe in Kids Day. The kids got to do tie-dye and hang out in bounce houses and just have a ton of fun. And they got to hang out with Big Red and all that kind of fun stuff. And it was just a nice community partnership. I think that they teamed up with 12 News. So it's always good to see that the Cardinals are giving back in the community and supporting worthy nonprofits. So kudos to them for being a hashtag good neighbor.
For sure. I really do feel like the Cardinals have been trying to do more community-based events, even on our Crucial Catch game last week. They had tents for early checks.
Mhm.
And they had the banner that you could sign just to show support. So
Yep,
that
I
even
signed
was
it.
a little bit of something.
Was something. It was something. The only thing that I thought was interesting is their charity for the raffle that the 50/50 was not a cancer charity.
I noticed that too.
For Phoenix Children's Hospital, and no disrespect to PCH, but why wasn't it a cancer org?
Yeah, and even if it was going to PCH, it could have been designated to special
Like
cancer
childhood
equipment or
cancer. Yeah.
detection or
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So
that was interesting. But good job for the Cardinals utilizing the stadium, the field, all of that space. And thank goodness for Big Red for being out there and cheering on those kids.
making people smile.
Smile. I'll pop in my photo with Big Red if anybody's curious.
I don't think I have one with him.
Oh, goodness. I don't know why I do. I just was like, I need to get one of those. Other good news, we have a very key player returning to the field.
Yay, Trey McBride is cleared. I am so excited to see him on the field. He has been doing an amazing job this year. We're very proud of him. So look for Trey McBride on the field this Sunday against the 49ers.
That is really exciting. I actually have a sheet that I look at each week as I'm preparing for various content pieces. And Trey McBride is still one of the top tight ends despite missing a game. His stats are five or more catches in two of his last three games this season. And this could be his sixth game in a row on the road with five or more receptions.
Hey,
So this could be good for him. I mean, when he played the 49ers last year, he had a career high, tied his career high of 10 catches and 102 yards.
th-
So
yeah, this all sounds good to me. Nice and positive. And the Cardinals rookie offensive tackle, Christian Jones, has been designated to return. So that's exciting to see one of our rookies out there.
that is good. And we have such a young team and they're filling some really important roles. So anybody back from injury is good news.
Yep, there you go. And I'm just putting out good positive vibes for Darius and Robinson. I can't wait to see him on the field.
I think it'll be sooner rather than later, according to the stuff we're reading. For a second, I was tricked thinking he was not injured anymore, but he's actually on injured reserve, which doesn't show up on the injury report proper. I have to remember that. Otherwise, it's like, oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Very true. All the sneaky things you got to check out and all the different elements of it. So,
Still on injured reserve, but uh, yeah, it looks like they're not trying to give a timeline, but it looks like it could be sooner rather than later. And gosh, we all hope so. I know that.
absolutely, we need him.
Well, there really isn't that much more, actually, any positive news to discuss. Um, it was a bad week.
It
Not
was
to
a
be
rough
a
week.
downer.
It was a rough week. I feel like a lot of us Cardinals fans, we definitely know the honeymoon is over. And the fact that we got beat so bad by our old coach and an amazing rookie quarterback just it hurts. It hurts a lot of people. Hmm.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels looked phenomenal.
Did an amazing job.
Um,
Kudos to him.
So phenomenal. And then we had an interception on our end, Garrett Williams. So that was nice.
That was a highlight of that game. I was so excited. I thought we were turning this whole thing around, but mm,
But now, the one thing I cannot get over is Kyler Murray only having three rushing yards. Three.
that was wild. That was absolutely wild. It didn't seem like that when you're at the game, I guess. I didn't really
No.
think about that.
I know when I went back to, because I put a bet against it saying he'd have like 34 yards. I was like, oh, that's like a lock. So put that bet in, went back to check my bets, and I'm like, what? 3 yards? What?
Kyler.
That didn't make any
Oh,
sense. But sometimes I get a little bit down on myself, and when we're having these discussions, and I think, am I being too much of a negative Nelly? Am I being too um I don't know, judgmental? I'm not a football player, I'm not a coach. We're
mm.
just here chit-chatting, but our beat reporters were not shy in their descriptions. Humiliating was the most used word, embarrassing along those same lines. And I thought, okay, well, if our own beat reporters feel that way, then
It
I'm
was
feeling that way too.
it was pretty heart-wrenching, especially Monday morning. I think we all had a big hangover from that game.
Uh, but onward and upward for
Yes.
sure.
Absolutely. We have to focus on the next game, which is an away game against the 49ers. So let's think positive and hope that they're starting to look at that film and learn from their mistakes. And I hope that it is a much better game and matchup.
Yeah, me too. Stepping away from Cardinals football, do you have any Brophy football news that you want to update us
I
on?
mean, Brophy varsity is undefeated and they're playing Basha on Friday, so that should be an exciting game. And if you happen to want to go to the game, it's a pink out. So they're honoring breast cancer awareness. So look for that pretty awesome game on Friday. Other than that, my son didn't play football this week. He should be playing next week, but all is good.
Think we're gonna have a little bit of a pink overload, as you know, in October. Both of us as breast cancer survivors, thrivers. Um, Sometimes I'm like, oh, so much pink, but the sentiment behind it is so positive that I try not to get, ugh.
I agree. I mean, for a while there, I felt like it was really dominated by the whole like Komen thing, but now it seems as though it's a more diverse group of breast cancer organizations and topics. But in the end, I feel as though it's always good to remind people to get their mammograms and get checked because you never know. So if my reminder helps save your life, I'm happy.
And if pink in October is what gets you to think about it, then great. That's great. Well, if you guys want to follow Charlotte, she's at Shaff. I'm at Kelly and Phoenix. I'll pop those up there and drop any questions, any news stories, any fun things that you want to share about your Arizona community. We can talk about it in the Positivity Playbook.
We would love to hear it. Please give us your ideas.
While the game wasn't that exciting, we do have some stats that we can still talk about as we go into this game against the 49ers. Last week, Kyler Murray had a touchdown pass. He was one of two NFC quarterbacks with 3 games with touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. That is really something to celebrate. The only other quarterback who's done that in the league so far this year is Dak Prescott. So 3 games with a touchdown pass and 0 interceptions out of 4 is pretty dang good. This could be Kyler's 3rd game in a row at San Francisco with a touchdown pass and a rushing touchdown. So the Cardinals do have some good history against the 49ers, and I hope it really comes out because, yeah, we have James Conner with another 49ers related stat. He's had 6 touchdowns, 5 of them rushing, 1 of them receiving in his past 5 games versus San Francisco. So, want a prop bet? I would be looking at DraftKings at James Conner props. Those seem pretty probable. Last week, Trey Benson, he had a career high of 50 rushing yards. So good for Trey Benson. Marvin Harrison Jr., he is just one of 2 receivers with 4 receiving touchdowns this season. He's aiming for his 4th game in a row with a touchdown catch. Another great thing to look at over at DraftKings, is there a Marvin Harrison Jr. anytime touchdown in your future? Probably. Maybe. I'd love it if you would take 1 minute to hear about one of our sponsors. TD, Tutty, in for 6. Touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We don't care how they score them. We just want to bet on touchdowns, and DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the Sportsbook app and use code SICKSPORTS. That's code SICKSPORTS for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Here's the legal. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. And that's about it. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Hopefully, we'll have some fresh stories to share with you, some additional positive things to share. And it would be amazing to be able to celebrate a Victory Monday together. So stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.